Hi, and welcome to what can only be described as episode 6 of the Golden Syrup Gaming Podcast, where we talk about video games and video game videos. And that podcast has been shattered by my new co-host, Keith.
Keith? What's my surname? Have I got a surname?
Just Keith.
Keith. And as always, I'm delighted to be here with the host, Ray Tracy.
Good, topical.
That's what I thought. I thought it'd be a good time to drop that one.
So, let's start off with the news. And a bit of exciting news regarding video content creators, Game Explain. Because it seems like, as I reported last time, John Cartwright had left the Game Explain team.
That was that was
but
our
now
understanding.
it turns out that everyone has left Game Explain except for the main guy, Andre.
Right. Although I did watch a Game Explain video the other day and he had somebody else on it.
No, he's got new people. So he sacked everyone and got new people in.
Right.
I discovered that because I'm subscribed to... Now this is quite complicated. I'm subscribed to John Cartwright's original YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
He went to Game Explain. Then he moved to Nintendo Life. Then he made a video on his own channel saying he was handing over his own channel to some friends.
Right.
Then the friends turned up and they were ex-Game Explain mainstays Derek and Ash.
Okay.
And they have a new channel now called Good Vibes Gaming.
Right. I'm not sure if I've seen that one. Maybe it rings a bell.
And so it turns out that they have started this new channel and there's no bad blood between any of them and Game Explain.
Well, that's good.
Andre.
No one likes bad blood.
But they say that, but it does seem strange that everyone has left at the same time.
Yeah.
So it seems like there might be some drama going on there.
A possible hostile work environment of some kind, maybe. We
But
don't want to speculate.
when Good Vibes Gaming did their first episode, it was actually sponsored by Game Explain. Which would lead you to believe that there was no bad blood.
Yeah.
But then I thought maybe Game Explain Andre's just got so much cash and he just sees himself as like the big boss, and he says, yeah, you can leave if you want, I'll sponsor your new show, I'm still controlling you.
Yeah. Do you think it's fair to say that you've maybe thought about this probably more than you should have?
More than most people perhaps. But not more than I should have. Because Derek and Ash, after they left to form their own channel, they put out a statement saying that they were leaving, there was no bad blood and that sort of stuff, but they did say they were going to concentrate on mental health.
Right.
And they called their new channel Good Vibes Gaming.
So there's a suggestion there that their mental health wasn't in a good place and there was potentially bad vibes at their previous employment.
Exactly.
It's all in the subtext.
Exactly. Because you can only imagine how overworked you would be if you worked at Game Explain, having to cover day in, day out every new release, reviewing stuff. I mean, it must have been pretty hectic.
Hefty workload, yeah.
And the thing that's funny is that a couple of years ago, Game Explained they mainly cover Nintendo.
Yeah,
so when the Wii U was out, they had basically nothing to cover. So life must have been quite easy for them at that point, but they weren't getting many views because Nintendo wasn't that popular.
Yeah.
Then the Switch comes out, it's hugely popular. The channel becomes really popular.
Yeah.
And the workload must have increased tenfold.
And they put a lot of effort into their kind of their graphics and stuff like that. Game Explain. So like, I think
I'm missing out. There's another guy who left Game Explain as well. I think his name's Steve, and he's also part of the Good Vibes Gaming channel. But what their content so far has been is Today's News Tonight, just a daily podcast type show discussing the news. And who wants to listen to that?
Well, exactly.
No. They also put up an hour-long video of a concept for a Metroid movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of that, but I noticed that they'd been putting it up. I mean, it's nice that they're branching out and thinking creatively or whatever, but yeah, I just don't want to sit through a fan film do you know
concept.
What I mean? Yeah. And I don't think Metroid would make a good movie, or pretty much any game for that matter.
No game would make a good movie.
No. Games are totally different, like how the story's told. I've really thought about this, like trying to think of one game that would make a great film, and none of them would, because all the best games, the appeal is applied to the gameplay and how that is intertwined with the storytelling. I don't think you can separate them. Even like the best games, like narratively, that you can think of, like Silent Hill 2, you couldn't make a good movie of that. Well, one, because it's already been done in the game, but two, just like all the best moments of that are from playing it, not from watching a story happen. You know what I mean? Anyway, we've digressed a little bit.
Yeah, but there have been the two films recently, Pikachu Detective and the Sonic film.
Yeah.
Which have both been quite successful. I've not seen either of them, have you?
I've not seen Detective Pikachu. I saw Sonic out of curiosity, and it's serviceable, but it's like, with that, it wasn't really rocket science. It's like a kind of mascot. Like, do you know what I mean? You just take the format of some kind of like Disney movie where it's like fish out of water mascot in the real world. You know, it's kind of been done, and they just done that with Sonic, and it happened to land quite successfully. Detective Pikachu. The thing is, I don't like, neither of them, like from what I can gather, adhere particularly strictly to the game, and maybe that's why they're.
I think that's probably is the key. Take the subject and do something original with it.
Yeah,
but
Detective Pikachu does
true
great
to the games.
I think Detective Pikachu would be a much more like fitting use of the franchise than trying to do like a full blown Pokemon movie. I don't think that would work. Like a live action Pokemon movie about Pokemon fighting each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where the idea for a Detective Pikachu came from. It's quite.
Did you play the game?
I've played the game a little bit, and it was quite good. I maybe should have played it more. It just didn't really grab me. It was quite boring and childish. But then so am I. So I should maybe look at that again.
What were we talking about before we?
Game Explain.
Game Explain.
And their the tyrannical leader, Andre.
How did we get onto talking about films and that? Game films.
That I don't know.
It was a nice little diversion, I thought.
It was definitely interesting.
I thought so. Anyway, what's the other news?
The other news that I was looking at this week was a long, almost an hour-long video from Nick Robinson about the lost McDonald's DS game. Did you see that video?
I did. I did just recently watch that video, and it was fascinating.
A wild ride.
Yeah. Like I have to, like a part of me admires his passion for and his determination in getting it, but also a part of me was like, is it really going to be worth the effort? And then when you saw the game, it's like, oh, not really. But then when you saw how like happy he was, that kind of made.
I think that the key to a good documentary is to first hype up the subject and get you interested.
Yeah.
And he did a great job of that. And I don't know if you've seen any of his other videos.
I haven't. That was my first.
But he does that in most of his videos, and usually he's famous for flying to Japan in person. But he couldn't do that, obviously, in this current climate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd recommend you check out some more of his videos.
I definitely will. I've subscribed as a result of
he
that.
He used to be a Polygon writer or a video maker, or he was definitely a member at Polygon,
right.
the big gaming
Yeah.
website. But then he was one of the first examples of someone getting cancelled.
Right.
I looked into it a while ago, and it didn't look like he'd done anything that bad, other than maybe getting in touch with some women.
Well, that's all it takes these days.
But
you can't say anything.
But he so I think he lost his job at Polygon. But then he's risen like a phoenix from the ashes flames. What is it?
It's well, yeah.
He's come back. He's uncancelled himself. Just like Pro Jared uncancelled himself, and don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, he's now got his own YouTube channel, and he's living the high life, making some great content. I'd say that I find very interesting
and spending frivolous amounts of money on,
often amusing. Yeah, but it was his
items.
sponsor who paid for it, which...
Yeah, fair enough.
And then he managed to work the sponsor into the video organically.
I can't even remember who the sponsor was now.
Whoever it was that paid for the car.
Pardon me.
Anyway, well done, Nick Robinson.
Well done.
And please don't get yourself cancelled again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just stay away.
You're on a winning streak now.
Stay away from other people.
Yeah, keep it up. Keep it up.
So the big news that everyone's been talking about this last couple of weeks is the new consoles have come out.
That's right.
The PS5 and the Xbox Series X / Series S.
Yeah.
And it's been an exciting time to be a gamer.
People are clamouring to get their hands on these items.
They were all sold out, I think, at launch.
Yeah, apparently PS5 is sold out worldwide, seemingly. Yeah, people are selling them for silly amounts on...
But people are trying to sell them
eBay
for silly amounts, but I don't know if people are all paying silly amounts.
Well, you'd be surprised. But no, you're right. I've definitely seen listings. I've not really seen much evidence of folk actually
not really a news story.
buying it. But yeah.
So, tell me about the PS5.
Well,
what are the key features?
what
Describe it to me if you're to sell it to me.
it's a lot like the PS4 but bigger and white, and it's got a controller that has a gimmick that people are quite excited about.
Haptic feedback.
This is the yeah, and that does sound exciting and interesting, and it's cool that already people have got it working on Steam and stuff like that, so you're not necessarily going to be limited to that functionality on the PS4. But this generation just isn't really leaping out at me as being much of a leap from the last generation so far. And the PS5, whilst it's got some nice looking launch titles. I'm just not. I'm going to give it a while, I think, before.
I said sell it to me.
Sell it
Keith,
to you.
not don't sell it to me.
But that would be disingenuous.
I didn't say what's your opinion. I said sell it.
Sell it to right. Okay, right. So it's big. It's white. It's got a hard drive that's fast but small for what you would really need.
Sell it. You're not. That's not selling.
I know.
Try and stay positive.
I'm trying.
Right. So sell me the Xbox Series S or X.
It's not as big. It's about the size of 2 GameCubes apparently. It has no notable games, like exclusive games.
Sell it.
I mean, it has a library of potentially thousands of games because of backwards compatibility, and to me that is a big selling point, to be able to have access to up to 4 generations of games on a single machine. That to me sounds great, but early sort of comparisons between Xbox and PS5 on some games, I think more of them are kind of faring better on the PS5 in most respects. Sorry, I'm not selling either of these consoles, am I?
No, I just gave up on the whole set. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, this is
Be critical.
Right. The thing is,
don't be afraid to be critical.
The thing is that from what we can understand, these are both really good machines. They're well made, and people.
Then you're being positive.
Alright, like I'm going to bounce between.
Right.
People seem to be generally quite
you're
happy.
just being honest.
Yeah. However, to me, there just doesn't seem to be that generational leap there that I would like to see, especially at the.
I was thinking about this, and why would you want to make a game to launch at the same time as a console? It would be really difficult and a huge risk.
Pardon me.
The only reason you would do it is if you were the console maker.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like as a third party. Because I was watching the What Happened about the dinosaur fighting game, Primal
Rage.
Yeah. And that actually came out good, but they were talking about the challenges for making a game for a console that hadn't even released at the time.
Yeah.
And they didn't get the final stuff till really close to when it was launching. And it made me think, why would you it's hard enough making a game anyway. Like, why would you want to make a game for a console that's just launching?
No. I mean, I suppose traditionally, like, launch games don't really fare well over the long term, like they don't age well.
People seem to expect great games at launch, but I mean, if you think about Nintendo, they've usually just moved
an end of generation game to the beginning of the new generation.
So to expect anything that great at launch is probably a bit unrealistic.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if like things like Spider-Man Miles Morales started life as a PS4 download, or like a DLC for Spider-Man, and then evolved into a PS5 launch game, even though it's out on PS4 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've totally lost my train of thought. But like, I suppose we should talk about what is actually getting touted as being the kind of main selling points for next gen, and I suppose that is the solid state hard drives and things like ray tracing, which is essentially things are shinier.
I was thinking usually like the leap in graphics between generations is so stark that you could just see it straight away.
Yeah.
But this generation, they've needed to make a whole YouTube channel called Digital Foundry to explain what the differences are, and show it in side-by-side screens that you still can't tell the difference unless you're watching it on the right kind of screen.
Yeah. So that's exactly my point, is that it's the difference in terms of like visual quality is so minimal that you have to have guys pointing out the differences in great detail on a albeit brilliant YouTube channel.
So, sorry. The launch games that there are, the Spider-Man, Miles Morales,
Yeah.
Dark Demon Souls.
Yeah.
What do you think of those? You spoke about Spider-Man. It looks good, but it's the same as the one on the PS4, except for the reflections.
And even then, that's only if you choose to play it in 30 frames a second. Then you get your ray tracy windows and that. Your windows and puddles are going to look brilliant. But
so you've got to make a choice between 60 FPS or the ray tracing.
Yeah.
What if you had the choice? What would you choose?
Probably the performance mode, the frame rate.
I'd probably. I don't know. You need to try it out.
Yeah, you'd have a look at it and then say, right, that's enough. Let's go back to playing it, so it feels nice.
I mean, in a game like Spider-Man, 60 FPS is probably nice, but I didn't notice. I didn't think, oh, I wish this was 60 FPS when I played the original in the PS4.
The thing is that's the whole, like they're touting it as play without limits. Like I'd watched a video, I can't remember who it was. It was White Light, I think it was. Maybe, I can't remember. But yeah, play without limits. But then straight away your first game. Oh, it was maybe Jim Sterling. In fact, he was saying, the first thing you have to do is choose between a high frame rate or the next generational graphical updates that make it. Do you know what I mean? So straight away there's a limit that you've got. A choice you've got to make. And
it seems like the next generation of consoles are a lot more like PCs.
Yeah, but
there's a lot more options in the options screen that you wouldn't have had in previous generation consoles.
Yeah.
So at that point, maybe why not just get a PC?
Well, I suppose it's still because like PCs are much more expensive than consoles. Like if you look at like the specs of the Xbox or the PS5, and like to buy an equivalent PC for that spec, you'd be paying, from what I gather anyway, much more than what you pay for the console. Like they're making losses on the consoles to make them.
And you've still got the exclusive games on the PlayStation anyway.
Yeah.
So what launch exclusives do Xbox have?
Well, I don't think they've got any, do they?
Well, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
No. Well,
that doesn't mean there isn't.
As far as I know, there's nothing exclusive. But I guess they're kind of riding on the ability to play a lot of games from previous generations out the box kind of thing, and a lot of them for sort of free if you've got Game Pass.
And in an improved quality, better resolution.
Yeah.
So explain that function of the Xbox Series X and S. The backwards compatibility, I mean.
Well, I mean, it can play a limited amount, or quite a substantial amount of Xbox's own back catalogue. But also, I was watching a thing from Modern Vintage Gamer, and I think it was Spawnwave that were talking about the developer mode that you can get access to for 20 quid, which allows you to run emulation on it, and seemingly it's a pretty good emulation machine, like running things like GameCube and Dreamcast better than most consoles can do.
Yeah, it seems like a good idea to open it up to homebrew, and the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
And obviously it's just started.
So if you had to make a choice to choose between one of the two,
I would. Originally, I liked the Xbox Series S, and I pre-ordered one. But the more I hear about it, the less I like it, because I feel like if I'm going to get a next generation console, I'd be as well to spend £100 more and just get the real deal rather than get something that might be worse in some ways.
Yeah.
Because straight away it seems like it has limits. And also I'm pretty excited about touching the PlayStation controller and feeling the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers.
Yeah. I keep swithering between the two. Like, I just don't know if the controller is enough of a sell to kind of push it into PlayStation. Like, the thing is that I'm definitely interested in both, and like I say, I'm kind of still undecided. But at the moment, I think that in terms of a value proposition, the Xbox is kind of just tipping. Like, I like the idea of having access to a huge catalogue of games, but as you pointed out before, whether or not I actually utilise that function remains to be seen.
It does. Okay, well, I think we've talked enough about the next generation consoles. I know that I've heard enough about them to do me a lifetime. Our next section is recommended small YouTubers
Of the week?
of the week. It's actually called recommended small channel of the week, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this week, someone I've been subscribed to for maybe about 10 years.
10 years?
He's called Dongold.
Very good.
But I used to be called Mike Tendo.
Oh no, that doesn't work, does it?
It doesn't work
Yeah, as
as a pun.
Nintendo, very good. Mike Tendo, not so much.
But Dongold,
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Tendo maybe not the best name, but Dongold, is that not even worse?
I quite like it. It's like a double entendre or something.
I'm not exactly sure what he's implying by Dongold.
Like a Wi-Fi. Like, yeah, what kind of dongle? Yeah. In any case, I think it's still quite an effective name for a YouTube gaming channel.
Yeah, I'm just checking his channel, and he has been making videos for over 10 years.
Yeah.
And I see 8 years ago he had a video called "What Did Mike Tendo Get?" episode 2.
And what did he get?
But even 8 years ago, 9 years ago, he was doing his popular series, Dude, You Haven't Played This Game.
Which we've just watched a recent episode of, haven't we?
He likes to abbreviate it to DUBD.
It doesn't abbreviate well,
But he still likes to abbreviate it.
yeah.
It's a long-winded title, however you look at it.
Yeah.
But you're new to Mike Tendo,
Yeah, very much so.
aka Dongold. So, what do you think?
Well, we watched a video about Spider, the video game, for the PlayStation 1, and I did like what I appreciated was it was no nonsense. There was no cutaways, no loudness. It was quite perhaps a bit dry, but no, I think yeah.
That's the problem. It's a hard balance to strike.
Yeah.
Not enough jokes, you're too dry. Too many jokes, you're too wet.
Yeah. And it's not even about humour. I suppose it's just about striking a balance between.
The thing is, you've only seen that one video.
Yeah.
He does dabble in skits.
Oh, does he?
And they are something else.
Well,
I think you might describe them as cringe. I describe it as peak YouTube.
right. Well,
but I definitely seen in the past there's been complaints about his skits, and he decided to double down on them, and he said, you know what, this is my channel and I'm having fun.
Good for him.
So I'm going to keep doing skits.
Well, I think I would subscribe to him, and I'll try and work my way through his back catalogue a bit more.
Like the game he had there, Spider, the video game for PS1. I've never seen that game before in my life.
No, that was what caught my eye. It was like, oh, I've never heard of that.
And that's... I'll need to check how many subscribers he's got, but considering he's been making content like that for 10 years, which is great content, you'd think, I mean, some of the YouTubers out there, I mean, how many subscribers does Dreamcast guy have?
It's hundreds of thousands, isn't it? Or at least 100,000.
No offence, but the guy is pretty simple. But Mike Tendo, aka Dongled, he loves games. He's got a great gaming knowledge. He makes fun videos showing games that you've not seen before.
Yeah.
But I think that's maybe part of the problem, because he doesn't jump on the hype train of the latest Mario or Zelda game.
Yeah, more niche stuff.
Yeah, so he's not hitting the algorithm like Wood. Guys like Wood, they're just gaming the algorithm.
Yeah.
Dongle, he doesn't care about the algorithm.
He's just...
The algorithm says skits are out. Mike Tendo says, fuck the algorithm.
Here's a
skit.
And a game that you've probably never heard of.
Yeah. So, that... For me, I'm fed up hearing about Mario and Zelda. So to hear about Spider, the video game for the PlayStation 1, that's interesting. It's something different.
Yeah.
I mean, the game looks shit, but it's interesting to watch Mike Tendo, aka Dongle, suffer through it for the purposes of a video review.
Yeah. So Dongle, check out Dongled if you've not already. But yeah, did you find out how many subscribers he does have out of curiosity?
Yeah, he's got slightly more than our previous recommended small channels, who've only had about 1,000, but he's only got 5.3 thousand subscribers
over 10 years.
And that, to me, that's shocking.
That's a travesty. Yeah.
But in a way it doesn't surprise me, because it's like anything. The most popular stuff tends to be shit. Like
lowest common denominator.
Yeah. So I would take it as a badge of honour.
Yeah.
To only have 5.3 thousand subscribers.
We've literally got none, so how good does that make us?
Exactly. If you think about it that way.
Yeah. We're at the top of our game already.
Yes.
Yes.
Well done us. Let's hope we don't get any subscribers.
Yeah. I hope no one's listening to
Please
this.
Please don't. Right, if you are listening, don't listen or subscribe. Okay, on to the next section of the show. What have you been playing? And we've both been playing some games, haven't we, Keith?
We have.
What have you been playing? What's the first game that you've been playing?
Well, excitingly, following on from the last episode where I was sadly retelling how I had to cancel my pre-order for Mario Kart
that was
Home
sad.
Circuit. Yeah. Well, now I have reversed that situation, and I've now got Mario Kart Home Circuit Luigi Edition.
Thank God.
Yeah. So, although I've only had it out once or twice, it's been a hell of a lot of fun.
You don't want to get it out too often.
I don't want to get it out too often. But also it's a bit of a pain in the arse reorientating the house to play it. But we did have a little one-on-one race, didn't we?
A head-to-head. Tete-a-tete.
And it was great. It was really good fun.
It was. I mean, we spoke about it extensively last time.
Yeah, we're not going to go too much into it.
So there's not that much we could say about it other than it
is enhanced with multiple participants. So yeah, just listen to the last podcast for our thoughts on Mario Kart.
If you haven't already,
if you haven't already,
probably have. It's quite a popular podcast.
But just sort of bolt onto that with 2 players, it's even better.
Times 2.
Yeah.
Everything that we said then times 2.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing that, and I've also I decided to finally get. I got a few games recently. I got State of Mind, which was
State of Mind.
State of Mind.
What's that?
It's a kind of futuristic-y Blade Runner inspired low poly adventure game, kind of reminiscent of, like, say, maybe a David Cage game, but without the time wasting. Kind of like, it's very narrative focused. It's like I say, it's like an adventure game. You kind of just walking about talking to people. There doesn't seem to be any kind of threat.
Third person.
Third person, yeah. And like I say, it's low poly, so it's got like this kind of low poly art style, which it's nice. I don't think it's entirely necessary, but it does mean that, you know.
So are you just going about talking to people?
Trying to fit, like it's very story driven. I don't want to,
like a point and click adventure.
Kind of, but but
third person.
Yeah. So like
it was on a deep sale. Was it
deep
not?
sale? I've had my eye on it for a while, and it had been coming up a lot on.
How much
like
did you get it for?
I think it was like 3 or 4 quid. Yeah, it was pretty cheap. And also got Pure Pool, which I've been waiting on coming out for quite
I
a
got
while.
Pure Pool as well.
We've yet to have a head-to-head on Pure Pool. Yeah. And of course, most recently, I got Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which...
Oh wow, I've seen a lot of talk about that.
And so far, I have to say, I'm enjoying it. I should have called it Age of Canon or Calamity Canon.
Well, you still can.
I still can.
You just did.
I just did. But it's like I say, like the gameplay is quite fun, and
so it's a hack and slash.
It's a hack and slash where you
hack and slash game. But interspersed with what can only be described as canon story.
Canons.
For the Breath of the Wild Zelda games.
Yeah, I think it's a bit early in the. I mean, I've played it for a few hours so far, and there's been quite a lot of story sections, but so far none of it's tied into Breath of the Wild. In fact, it seems to be kind of doing its own thing in some respects with this little robot, a little time traveling robot that wasn't in Breath of the Wild.
I saw that was the only thing that I liked that looked interesting. The wee robot guy, and I was going to ask you about him. And it made me think: is the new Breath of the Wild 2? Is it going to have more of the futuristic elements that were hinted at in Breath of the Wild 1, but you never saw? Because I was always hoping Breath of the Wild 1 would have the sort of dual worlds, and everyone was going to change. It was going to be like futuristic.
There's hints at that, isn't there? And
so maybe they've thought, well, we'll just keep that for Breath of the Wild 2.
Well, they seem to be taking their time with that. What was probably expected initially to be quite a quick turnaround is kind of bloating into a pretty extensive development period for Breath of the Wild 2. And Hyrule Warriors, some cynically might say, was timed to bridge the gap because people are getting impatient for Breath of the Wild 2. And there's definitely hints of that kind of higher technology in Hyrule Warriors, like the Guardians and stuff are there, and this little Guardian dude, and there's a lot more use of the Sheikah technology. And I'm
just thinking, in Breath of the Wild 1, did they not release something where you got a motorbike?
Yeah. Well, when it was the DLC. You got the 2 DLC packs, and
How does that fit in with the canon story?
It's the Sheikah slate makes a motorbike appear once you've defeated this extra boss that you unlock, and there's like a whole extra dungeony bit and an extra boss that you can fight, and if you beat him, then you can get this motorbike thing for your Sheikah slate, and it works canonically. If that's
so in Hyrule Warriors. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Age of Calamity. Yeah.
You play as different characters?
Yeah, primarily you start as Link, and then every character you meet, you then can choose to play them, and
you switch them at any time?
Yeah, I think you can. There's a limit as to how many you can swap between. Like, I think you can take. I think there's maybe like one or two. Depends on the level. You can take limited amount of characters with you and swap between them. Like sometimes you've just got one, and then other times you've got 4 you can swap between. And I don't know, like it's quite useful to like have different players positioned at different points on the map, and then when you swap between them, it saves you having to traverse that distance, and then you end up learning each character's moves and stuff like that, and or play style.
So how far into it do you think you are?
Well, I've just I've recruited 3 out of the 4 Guardians. And I'm sort of into the level for the 4th one, the Rivali. So probably still quite early on, but like a good few hours in, because I played the demo first and then transferred my save data over and carried on. So it's probably a good 4 hours maybe.
Can you see yourself playing to the end of it?
I think I'll.
How long? Do you know how long it's meant to be?
It's a thing that you can rattle through the main sort of quests in like 12 to 15 hours. So I could easily see myself sticking with it that long. The gameplay is a bit repetitive. There's no getting around that, but I think there's enough variety with the different characters and the moves and the kind of Sheikah technology. There's enough variety that you can kind of mix things up a bit, so it hasn't not been fun so far, even though you're pretty much just doing the same thing over and over again.
Well, I still won't be playing it, but I'm glad you're having fun.
So, what have you been playing?
Stealing my catchphrase. I've been playing a few different games. Like you, I pre-ordered Pure Pool. And I paid for it I paid and pre-ordered Pure Pool, and we were waiting for it before launch.
I paid and pre-ordered Pure Pool too, but I was duped into it thinking that it was actually out. I didn't actually realise I was just pre-ordering it, but thankfully it was only the day before.
It's a new interest that I have, because previously I had no interest in pre-ordering Pure Pool. I'm paying for it.
So what piqued your interest in pre-ordering Pure Pool?
Pre-cum. This is, don't know why I said it. No, recently, I think it was after 51 worldwide games came out.
Yeah.
And me and you started playing billiards.
Yeah, we were putting quite a lot of time into billiards, weren't we?
Playing the billiards game on 51 worldwide games.
And this was during lockdown, and it was online, and it was just a nice, relaxing way of spending an evening when you didn't have much else to do.
And it had a funky little, or it still does have a funky little tune.
Yeah.
That you can just sing along and listen on loop for hours.
Which we have done.
Which we did. But it sparked off a previously unrealised passion for pre-ordering Pure Pool.
Also, as well, we should mention that as a result of playing the billiards, we both got like worldwide snooker championship or whatever it was called. Like I was trying to tell
hardcore
snooker simulator.
I was trying to tell the story, but I just kept getting caught up in alliteration, and I just wanted to skip straight to pure pool. But no, you're right. We started picking up pure pool. No, we started picking up all the pool and billiards.
After that, we were kind of like keeping an eye out for a really good pool game, and pure pool kept manifesting.
Well, we saw pure pool on a pre-release video, and we thought, that looks good. I think it's previously been on PS4 to pre-order pure pool.
Yeah, and it's very popular on PC, pure pool.
But I by mistake mistakenly bought Brunswick Pro Billiards,
thinking it was pure pool,
thinking it was the one that we had seen in the pre-order video for pure pool.
And I almost bought that until I realised that wasn't the game that we were saying. That, how was that Brunswick?
I hardly even played
Pro
it
Billiards.
because pure pool pre-order popped up.
Yeah, so it's quite a handful of.
Your cat Poppy likes pure pool.
Poppy does like pure pool. She seems to like the music. Don't you, Puss?
Brunswick Pro Billiards went for a different sort of vibe to pure pool. You start it up and it's a rocking soundtrack, intense visuals, and it's going for like an extreme billiards vibe.
It's funny you should say that, because the snooker game as well, like it's like snooker, it's like the most kind of slow-paced, quiet like sport you could think of. You start that game up on the Switch, and then like if you've got the TV, like the volume up on the TV, like it starts off and it's like this wow, like this noise. It's like what the fuck? What, this is meant to be snooker? It's meant to be relaxing. Once you're into the game, it's fine, but just like the kind of opening like title thing is horrible. But not pure pool.
No, pure pool has a particularly peaceful patois. I don't know what that means.
Pure pool's got a kind of
particularly peaceful.
Yeah, I'm not going to try and alliterate on that.
I just need one more. A P word that means music.
Oh, don't. But it's quite jazzy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, as soon as I started up pure pool, I was loving the jazzy, smooth music, which continues throughout, and it looks amazing.
And there's no fucking around either. Like, you're straight on the table. It's like there's no
feels good to play
or anything like that. Mm-hmm.
The sounds are great, sound effects. And is it just me, or can you not look directly down on the table?
No, you can't.
You can't.
No,
because I mean that's like realism.
Where you can hold it, and then
you could move the view around, but you can't, like, because in the 51 worldwide games, you're just always looking directly down at the table.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes it too easy in a way, because you can't really see a pool table from that view in real life. So I guess that's why you can't do that in this game.
And it's like
annoyingly, but it makes it more realistic and a bit more difficult.
It's quite fair, isn't it? So, like, in terms of the performance, it's a very passable port of pure pool, isn't it?
You've been thinking about that the whole time. I wonder why you were sort of staring through me when I was talking. But yeah, if you're going to pick up any pool games, pure pool.
Yeah, that's the one.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually been playing that much pure pool. I picked up another game called Coffee Talk.
Coffee Talk?
Yeah, I was online.
Coffee Talk?
Coffee Talk. I was online looking for some hidden gems on the Switch.
Stop eating the couch, rabbit.
And I saw people talking about a game called Coffee Talk. And it's a kind of visual novel type game, which is very similar in genre to a game called Valhalla, which I've also got on the Switch. A cyberpunk bartending game, which is also a visual novel. So you basically, in Valhalla, you work in a bar, people come into the bar and you chat to them, and the story unfolds through your chats.
Oh, yeah. Stop eating the cable, rabbit.
But they order drinks, and so there is a little bit of gameplay involved when you have to mix the different drinks for the patrons and stir it up, shake it up, whatever's required. You get a little recipe book. So Coffee Talk is almost exactly the same setup, but you work in a coffee shop and you're making coffee and tea based drinks.
It's much more up your street, isn't it? A coffee based.
But both the games have really nice chilled out soundtracks, which for me, when I'm playing a game which is a visual novel, you're mostly just reading and then pressing the button to go through the text. So I find it very relaxing. You're not always wanting to be shooting people or being shot at or racing a car at 100 miles an hour. Sometimes you want to relax and just enjoy the story aspects and the music, and these bartending games they really lean into that with their music. And the Coffee Talk has a kind of lo-fi chill hop soundtrack, and the songs just come on, and the vibe is just incredibly relaxing.
I like a bit of chill hop,
and you could almost fall asleep to playing the game, but I don't mean that in a bad way. It's really relaxing. Another game I picked up was Chicken Police.
Alright, yeah.
I haven't played that yet, but saw a couple of reviews on that, and it looks like it's a kind of story based game, maybe a bit more of a point and click idea to it.
Yeah, like film noir,
but
with animals.
But with animals.
Yeah.
Hopefully I could play a bit more of that and let you know what I think. But I've still been playing Jake Hunter on the 3DS and on the DS. I've just been switching between both the games, because you get, in each game it's split up into, there's a main case and then there's like 5 smaller cases, and I've almost worked my way through all the cases now. And I just want to say to the people that make the Jake Hunter games, please release the new Jake Hunter game on the Switch in English. Please.
I forgot to mention, I've also been playing No More Heroes, which
I knew there was something else you've been playing.
That and No More Heroes 2 has just been released on Switch, so I do intend to get the second one at some point. I just thought I would get the first one first.
How much of the first one have you played so far?
I've done like the first 2 or 3 assassination missions.
And how is the Switch port? It's
a really good port, yeah. It's just like, it doesn't actually feel that long ago that I last played it, like a lot of it still feels quite fresh, but it's, yeah, if you've played any Suda 51's games, you kind of know what to expect. It's quite brash and visceral and but ultimately really fun. But I'd say fun in short-ish bursts. Like, I don't think I could play that for like hours at a time.
I've seen somebody mention it in a review, but there is quite a repetitive sound effect when you're killing guys.
Yeah.
You go, screaming noise.
Yeah.
It's just like constant. They could have mixed up. I mean, a couple more samples for people dying.
It's like a deadly premonition.
Don't want to die. It's not quite on that level, but
It's not far off.
at least it's shorter.
Yeah. That's another thing. It's
So you're going to pick up the sequel as well?
yeah, at some point. Yeah, I'll get round to that. But it's not like an immediate priority.
Okay. On to the next section of the show, which is our deep dive.
Exciting.
And this week we're going to deep dive into Stop Skeletons from Fighting.
Oh.
They didn't worry about alliteration when they were coming up with their name.
No.
So, I've been subscribed to Stop Skeletons from Fighting since they were he was the Happy Console. No, that's the other one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Happy Video Game.
I can't remember.
Oh, I'm getting confused. I did know it, but now I'm on. The pressure's on. Happy, because the Happy
Console Gamer's that other guy.
The judge, the guy that looks like the judge. Just go wearing a judge's wig.
No.
No.
Happy Console Gamer's the guy that wears like the black bomber jacket. And he's like,
he looks like a judge.
A judge.
His hair's like a judge's wig.
You reckon?
It is. And he judges the games.
He does what he says in the tin. He's generally quite happy.
Right. I think he was the Happy Video Game Nerd.
The Happy Video Game Nerd.
Yeah, he was. That's why I couldn't remember it, because it was so close to Angry Video Game Nerd that I couldn't even remember it. So you can see why he changed it.
Yeah.
But back in the day, everyone was copying the Angry Video Game Nerd.
Pretty much that's what all of YouTube gaming did.
But in a bit of a relief, Happy Video Game Nerd wasn't shouting and being angry about games. He was actually being positive and praising games and shedding light on maybe some lesser known games that you might be interested in.
But not shouting was the important thing.
Not that much. It's been a long time since I watched these Happy Video Game Nerd videos, but I did used to enjoy them. He always used to sit with a bottle of wine,
right,
and a glass of wine. The Angry Video Game Nerd always used to have a bottle of Rolling Rock beer,
of course,
and that was one of his things.
Yeah, that was like his trademark, wasn't it?
So Happy Video Game Nerd, he thought he'd be a bit classier and sit with a nice red wine.
I do remember this actually, now that you mention it.
I'm looking at his video, and this probably isn't even the original upload, but this is from 2007, so a good few years ago now.
Yeah, God.
But he, like I say, he's been there since the very start, but now he's known as Stop Skeletons from Fighting, and you're subscribed.
Yeah.
I'm subscribed. I'm a big fan. What do you think?
I wouldn't say I was a big fan, but like it's weird. I'm subscribed, but somehow like I seem to miss a lot of his uploads. Like I don't know why they're maybe not as visible as other subscriptions. Maybe I don't engage with his content as much as others, so it's not as visible. But that annoys me because I really do like his stuff. Just yeah.
Some of the best videos in the game that I'd say these days, and he works with his girlfriend, who he calls Producer Grace.
Yeah, I think the first sort of videos I seen, it was I assumed it was done as a couple.
It's a funny thing to call your girlfriend Producer Grace.
Yeah.
But I'm not here to kink shame.
Yeah. But no, I'm generally big fan of his content. Yeah.
Well researched, well produced.
Yeah.
You could add thoroughly before each of those things. Recently he's been doing a lot of rare hardware reviews, and he stole the idea from Mini-Me of doing punching weight.
Oh right, yeah.
Games on consoles that are pushing
hardware limits
to limits.
Stuff,
I think he should admit he stole that idea from Mini-Me and his games that push the Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, we should cover Mini-Me at some point, perhaps, as well.
Yeah, would he be a small channel or a big channel? I guess he's quite big.
Quite big, yeah.
We could dive right in.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're not diving into Mini-Me right now. We're diving into Happy Video Game Nerd and Producer Grace,
also known as Stop Skeletons from Fighting.
Then what does that mean exactly?
I thought it was maybe a reference to, I don't know, Castlevania or something like that.
Yeah, I thought that as well, but I'm not entirely sure. So, let's talk about Derek. His name's Derek. And let's talk about his personality.
It's time to talk about Derek.
What do you think of his personality? I think he's overly happy because he's always been a happy video game nerd, and so he wants to portray that. So he's overly. He seems like he's on drugs. Do you think? I mean, I don't think he is, but the way he acts, it's like he's just had a line of coke.
There's that kind of infectious enthusiasm that he exudes that
he's trying to be happy.
Could possibly be mistaken for a drug problem.
But he's just high on games.
Yeah.
He's high on nostalgia.
That's definitely got to be a massive part of his appeal, isn't it?
Producer Grace, God bless her.
She's got her work cut out, hasn't she?
All she could do is sit back and watch. Well, no, she doesn't. She does a lot of the hard work. She's the producer.
Yeah.
And so his So I think I interrupted. What do you think of his personality?
Well, I think we've generally covered that, haven't we?
Cocaine,
yeah.
Esque. But I mean, I don't think you can get cocaine.
Brimming with enthusiasm and knowledge and passion for his craft.
High on games.
High on games.
What about his humour?
I couldn't really comment. I don't watch his videos to laugh, but he may have made me laugh. I can't really.
He doesn't make me laugh.
Yeah, I don't remember.
He's more of a information hype man.
A conduit of facts.
He's definitely introduced me to a lot of games that I didn't know about.
Yeah. Much like our small channel of the week, Dongold.
Mike
Tendo. He's straight to he's full of facts. There's not a lot of I don't know, trying to make you laugh.
Faffing.
Needless faff. Trying to make you laugh.
Needless faff, trying to make you laugh. I think we were kind of covering it already, but his game insight and knowledge.
He's at the top of his game, isn't he? He really knows
his exemplary. He's a big survival horror fan, Derek.
And I think a lot of our favourite YouTubers cover survival horror in depth, like Avalanche reviews and stuff like that. He's one of my favourite YouTubers. Yeah, it's a surefire way of getting a subscription off me is if you talk in depth about survival horror games.
But I guess of late he's been doing that quite a bit less. Maybe that's Producer Grace's influence.
I mean, it might be a while ago, but I remember him doing a lot of stuff on like was it him that was doing like Monkey Island retrospectives and stuff like that? Or am I getting confused with?
I think you might be getting confused. He's American. Probably doesn't even know what Monkey Island is.
But yeah, just to kind of sum up on Stop Skeletons from Fighting, he's probably quite a heavy hitter, isn't he? If you're not already subscribed, do it. You're not going to be disappointed. There's a wealth of content on his channel.
So let's rate them.
Let's rate them. This is the part where we've got to remember
I've not got a pen. I thought I had a pen.
We could just kind of. It's usually.
Let's just give them an overall
score
out of 120.
Right. Yeah. So 60 each. Is that the?
Right.
Yeah. So I would say, taking into account I mean, he's got to be at the high 50s. Let's say 56 from me out of 60.
57.
Yeah.
From me. So if you add them together.
Yeah, I don't have a... Right, wait a minute. So that would be 113.
113.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, it would be. That's right. 113.
I'm no math. You do the math.
Yeah, 113 out of 20.
What did Kimball Justice, our previous winner, have?
Oh God, I can't remember.
I
don't think it matters. I don't mean.
No idea. Let's drop the number scale. Well done, Derek Alexander. You've broken the scale.
Yeah.
Producer Grace.
I think our enthusiasm for the number and scale had been waning over the last few weeks. It's just difficult.
You don't need to put a number. What's the point in putting a number on it?
Exactly. Why debase the qualities of the YouTubers by reducing them to...
He was reviewing the GameCube chainsaw controller.
Oh, that's right, aye.
You were watching that.
That's right, that was the last
And then
one.
before that he was reviewing Resident Evil 4 ports.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the type of survival horror content that
can't get
that we love.
That. What is it, Puss? Are you agreeing? She is.
Keep the ratings down. Okay. So that takes us on to our final section of the week.
Which is
Young Ye's controversy of the week.
Is that our final section?
Have we got enough time?
Yeah, no, I think so. We're over an hour, I think.
Oh, good.
Thereabouts.
So what I realised is in America they don't say people have got their knickers in a twist. They say they've got their panties in a bunch. Because I heard the guy from Gaming Off the Bread, he said that panties in a bunch. Don't get your panties in a bunch. So what has Young Ye got his panties in a bunch about this week, you might well ask?
I do.
Nothing.
No.
In a twist.
That's
He's laughing away and he's making excuses for Cyberpunk 2077 because he's a Cyberpunk 2077 apologist.
That's
and chill.
So just for people who don't know, Cyberpunk 2077 was delayed again, having gone gold, but instead of coming out sometime this month, it's going to be released December 10th, I think.
It's leaked, I seen today.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Somebody had said that.
In fact, I saw Young Ye had his panties in a bunch because he was saying, warning, it's leaked.
And it's like, how much of it can really have leaked? Do you know what I mean? Like, surely it's like hundreds of hours a game, you know, that can pan out a million different ways.
I've accidentally watched it.
Yeah. I've accidentally watched 100 hours of...
But he was saying it was fine it had been delayed, even though it's already been delayed multiple times. And I was saying, if this was Bethesda delaying their game after it had already been delayed multiple times,
he'd be all over that, wouldn't he? He'd be raging.
Aye, he'd be shouting and screaming, saying it's unacceptable, it's anti-consumer.
His panties would have been in a proper bunch then.
Panties would have been bunched right up, but as it's Cyberpunk,
hey guys, it's all good, okay?
Exactly, his panties are fine.
They're unbunched.
Unbunched.
They're like uncreased, completely ironed.
Well, that's it for this week's show. I'd like to thank Keith for joining me live in the studio, and we'll look forward to seeing you all again next time.
Young out.
Young out. What a sign off.